Hey guys, it's AC. Welcome to my house. And today we're talking about virtual real estate and the metaverse. I get this asked a lot and I get it. I understand why. I'm a real estate guy. I love real estate and I'm a crypto guy. I love crypto, right? That's what I talk about. I talk about real estate 4 days a week. I talk about crypto once a week. So, of course, the intersection of the two is virtual real estate, metaverse real estate, and everyone wants to know what I think. I want to know what I think too. That's the question. I've been mum on it. I've been researching it. I've been trying to get answers. I've been trying to formulate my opinions, and I'm on the fence. But I'm going to explain the pros and cons in this episode. I'm going to walk you through what I know, and then maybe we can collectively make a decision on it together. Okay, so I want to start though with, like I do with every sort of crypto show. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just teaching you what I'm researching. None of this should be taken as advice. This should all be taken as entertainment. Okay, I'm not qualified to give you good investment advice. I can just tell you my opinion in terms of entertainment advice. So take it for what it is. Always do your own research. And thanks for everyone tuning in live. I appreciate it. I see you. Ask questions as we go through. Those tuning in later on YouTube and Facebook, House of AC Facebook page to watch older episodes. I appreciate it. And those who have ears and driving and listening in on the podcast version, hey, I love you guys too. Thank you so much. All righty. So let's get started. Virtual real estate. What is that, right? Well, it's when you put on one of these things a lot of times. All right. Let me show you. This is how Meta does it. So this is going to stay. This is not going anywhere. I just put on Oculus goggles. That's going to be our new future. One of the biggest companies in the world just rebranded from Facebook to Meta to put an emphasis on the metaverse. So this is not a fad by any means. This is real money, real people building in a virtual world, a non-real world. So take that for what it's worth. This is something that's going to be around. Okay. The way to look at it is sort of like a video game. When you play video game, you have different worlds, whether it's Grand Theft Auto and you're driving around a fake Miami, you're in Fortnite, you're playing in different worlds on Fortnite. If you're old school like me, you're playing Zelda and you're playing the Zelda world, right? There's all these different characters and different real estate. And within those worlds, you've got towers and you've got mushrooms and pipes you got to jump over. And in every video game you've ever played, there's some sort of world that's created. Imagine owning a piece of that world. This is the future of video games. You could Super Mario Brothers, you could own the princess castle, right? And you rent it out to the princess. You could own the plumbing pipes that give you to a virtual world, and someone's got to pay you 5 mushroom coins to use your pipe to get from one world to the other. This is the future of gaming. You get to own real estate within these worlds, and it's not just gaming. It's just could be walking around shopping. I'll give you a quick sort of video here. Like, it's just a little avatar walking around. There's going to be districts and hubs, museums to look at, other NFTs. You can buy real estate. You can go to clubs and parties. These are all sort of the world of the metaverse. Okay. And there's not just one metaverse. That's what's the main thing to understand. There's different worlds. So an example is the Sandbox is a popular one. Decentraland is a popular metaverse. Pixel Links, Axie Infinity, Nifty Island, Somnium Space. I mean, there's probably 24 different metaverses. So what that means is, and what the way this is really going to take off and be sort of like the future, is that you have a little avatar and you can buy your digital Nikes in a shop on the metaverse and one of those metaverses, right? And then you're building out your little avatar. You got your digital Nikes. Maybe you've got a NFT that you bought and you turned it into a virtual t-shirt or a hat. Build out your character, and then you can basically commute between these different 24 metaverses, just like you would visit different countries and you'd have different experiences and different currencies and different ways of doing things. That's what these metaverses are. It's all about these different worlds, And if you're going to invest in these worlds, obviously it's the ones that are more popular are going to be better, and the ones that are less popular are going to be worse. So we're going to try to suss out that and what makes things popular and what not. And it's all new and exciting. And I like to explore the different ways to make money here. So first, it's all going to be based on, well, let me do this. When dating myself, 2005, there was something called the $1 million webpage. I don't know if you guys remember the $1 million webpage, but basically it's just a big square of 1 million pixels. And you'll see it right here. It's just a grid, right? You could buy a pixel for $1. So this creator made $1 million by selling a pixel each. And as you can see here, some got a big land grab so that they could put their entire logo on it. And these are all clickable hyperlinks. You could just buy one little pixel and send that hyperlink somewhere, or you could buy a big swath, a 100 by 100 square. And then you click on it and, obviously it would stand out and be more popular. It's got more virtual real estate on this $1 million webpage. That's the same way to sort of look at these virtual worlds. There's a finite number of pixels in these virtual worlds. So the number one complaint is, hey, why would I buy virtual real estate? They're just going to build more of it, right? It's 100 by 100,000, pixels now, or whatever the system has limited their capacity. They could always add more later. So that's a risk that you do take, and that's one to really understand. I don't think anyone would just randomly add more land, because that's what makes what's been sold valuable. Just like New York City real estate is valuable. They're not making more New York City. I guess technically you could, and they have built little docks and sand and created, land to build on off, out into the rivers there. But that takes a lot of work. And it slightly devalues some of the other land around because now there's more supply. So you're going to have some trust that these worlds will not build more real estate. Possibly they could. I think it's a low risk because they're still going to be making money on all the trade and the resources within the worlds that they're built. So as if you look at it like this, you've got your little grid, so you get your little parcel, and then within that parcel, it's going to come with different zoning sort of aspects. So if you kind of look at a parcel here, this one are built ones into central land. You get a little grid like you would in SimCity. It's just, it could be a green park grid. It could be one that's been zoned commercial, one that's zoned industrial, retail, just like you would in real life. You get different zoning, and then it's what you make of it. Now, it could go to zero, but also land in real life could go to zero. I've gotten several pieces of land for free, buildable lots that formerly had houses on it, and I then gave them away for free. I'll give you an example. So this still happens in the real world here. So it logged me out of the system here. I bought a portfolio of land. Portfolio properties from an investor. Oh man, it timed out, but I'll walk you through it. I bought like 6 homes from an estate. An investor passed away. His kids inherited the land. It was 6 homes, rental properties, and 2 vacant lots that used to have homes on it at one point, and they had I don't know, been demolished. I don't know what when I got them, it was just a flat grass corner lots, great lots. And the person selling to me is like, I don't know what to do with these lots. You can have them for free. Okay. So there is real world examples of those lots being given for free. I was like, sure, I'll take free land. So I got these 2 empty lots, and then I realized, I could build a brand new house on it. It would cost me at a minimum to build a small livable house, rerun the plumbing, the utilities, things like that, $200,000. But this land was in a place where, the most expensive home was like $150,000. So I didn't want to build new construction $200,000 when I could go buy another property for $150,000 and rent it out for the same amount. It just, I just was holding this land for 2 years, paying property taxes on it. I was paying about $300 a year. So I was like, this land is losing me money. It has zero value. And I couldn't sell it because that's how everyone else who's an investor would evaluate it. I did sell one piece of property to a neighbor for $5,000, which I would have given it to him for free because I wasn't ever going to build, but he offered to pay me $5,000, and I said, sure. It was neighboring one of his properties. He wanted a bigger yard. That makes sense. But the other two properties, I donated it to a land bank, the city's land bank, because I didn't want the liability of someone getting hurt on my property. I'd occasionally get something in the mail that says someone had thrown some empty tires and trash on my property, and I had to go clean it up. It was just a hassle. So I donated the land, 2 lots, to a land bank that the city runs and takes care of, and they're going to possibly make affordable housing now that turn into parks. They get to choose whatever they want to it. I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I say that story to tell you there's land in the real world that's worthless. So there's quite possibly going to be land in the virtual world that's worthless as well. So you buy these pixels in this little metaverse. You got a little SimCity plot. A way to make money is to flip it, right? You could develop that. Like that's what I was showing you on the screen here is sort of these are properties that have already, you can go to scenes, you can go to land. And oh my gosh, everything timed out. This is what I get for prepping. I shouldn't prep because now all my logins are now I have to reload on my stream. I apologize, guys. All right. So here you get an idea. This is the green piece of land that you can buy. Just it comes as undeveloped. You can hire, and people do, architects to develop on this property. This looks like some self-made shack here with a fence, work in progress, and this guy gave up on. This is actually 32 parcels of land, and he started building something. He put a lake on it, whatever you want. But the money, the property, I mean, there's property selling for millions of dollars, and those are the ones who take this real land, and they are in a cool district, a commercial district, sort of like a Times Square-esque. They hire real world architects to go in and develop property. And that property gets developed into, cool clubs and views. And, it's just a hub of foot traffic. Like people want to go where the clubs are, things like that. And as I'm talking on my screen, these are different worlds and different things that are being developed. The Wall Street Journal did a really good video on this if you want to check it out, called Investors Buy Up Metaverse Real Estate and Virtual Land Boom. So to me, as a real estate guy, I think money is to be made by buying a blank piece of lot, hiring an architect to design something, and then you get a 3D video game designer to actually build it in the virtual world. And then you sell that property to someone else who doesn't want to go through the hard work of being an architect or designing the properties and building the properties and creating these worlds on your land. So that is definitely a play in the metaverse. For me, it's the long-term play that's difficult in real estate wise, because I just don't know. Like technology changes so fast, and especially in these worlds, I expect it's going to be changing fast. So as soon as you build a cool world, like we just saw on the screen here, it looks like a museum or an amusement park, things like that. I would imagine the technology and the graphics are constantly going to be getting better and better. So you're constantly going to be renovating your property, just like in a real world where you're renovating your kitchen from laminate countertops to granite countertops, and now maybe granite countertops are not out in anymore, and they've got a new product. You're putting that in, and you're changing your cabinets and painting it to go with the trends, and you've got to basically refresh your property every 7 to 10 years if you want to stay current. You're probably going to have to do this maybe every year, to stay current with all the new features coming out. Not saying you can't make money; it's just something to be aware of. But being a virtual reality developer, there's definitely good money in that. But here's the passive income play. A lot of these people buy great location real estate, the Rodeo Drive of virtual world, where you are going to go buy those digital sneakers, and you go in and you have a commercial spot. You can rent that out. You can rent that out to the Gucci's and the all the other sort of Italian, hot fashion places that want access to those worlds, you can do that. So there's definitely a passive income rental a play there. I know people are buying huge swaths of land to build like a roller coaster tycoon like park, a theme park, and it'll cost $1 to get in the in-game currency. And then you can collect this in-game currency as a landlord, and you can cash out it into real world dollars if you want. There's just so much that can be done here, like the clubs. You could have a club that only has a capacity of $10,000, 10,000 avatars or 100,000, and you charge $20 because Snoop Dogg is going to be there, and he's building his own Snoopverse, and people are buying all the land around his Snoop headquarters because they know it's going to drive a lot of traffic. And maybe people want to buy a cool hat before they go into the virtual club, or they want to go to a bar afterwards, and maybe it's a sports bar and they want to follow they're Atlanta Braves fans and they want to go hang out with other Atlanta Braves fans, so they'll go there. Or they want to go to a gay bar afterwards and you want to go hang out with other gay avatars, but it costs $5 to get in or $10 to get in. You can be a landlord of all these different businesses that attracts different types of clientele. It's quite cool. If I was going to watch a Georgia Bulldogs football game, I can maybe put on my virtual goggles here, watch the game virtually, but also I'm in a crowd with all my friends. I can get a private booth and say, hey, 10 friends, let's go, who all live across the United States. We used to watch Georgia games together. Why don't we all put on our headsets, sit in this virtual bar? We're going to pay, $10 an hour to watch the game, but at least I get to see my virtual friends and we talk and we look at a TV in the virtual world. A lot of this I understand sounds very silly. And you might be saying, why would I ever want to watch and do something virtually? And this is sort of the analogy I like to, think about. Like at one point, everyone played football outdoors, right? And then professional football was shown on TV. And I would imagine that generation, the parents are like, why are you watching football on TV when you could actually go outside and play football yourself? And then the kids would roll their eyes and be like, shut up, mom and dad, you don't know what you're talking about. Next generation, football comes along in the form of video games. And parents like mine were saying, why are you playing football video games when you can watch football on TV or go outside and watch football? All those things still existed and still are fun, but this is just another avenue to get your football. And then, a decade later, it's, hey, let's do fantasy football. And you're just following the stats of players. And this has become a huge business, right? And some parents might say, why are you doing fantasy football when you can play video games or watch football on TV or go outside and play football? And then what comes after fantasy football? Well, YouTube and live streamers. And now I can actually watch someone make their fantasy football picks on YouTube. I can watch someone play Madden on an Xbox on YouTube. And I see my kids doing this. And I'm like, why are you watching someone else play video games when you have the video game to watch football? Or you can watch it on TV, professionals play, or you can go outside and play football, right? So this is the next step of that. It's, you are going to be a virtual world and with virtual people and virtual friends watching football in a virtual world, probably doing virtual fantasy football picks in this virtual world. It just never ends, right? It doesn't mean one's a fad. It doesn't mean one's going out of business. It's just another iteration of this technology around whatever your interests are. And I give you football, but fashion's another one. Like it used to be fashion magazines where everyone wanted to get the In Vogue magazine. And I promise you next, it's going to be, oh, I want to go to the fashion show in the virtual world. And I have to have an NFT, which is my ticket into this virtual world. I want my avatar, to have a virtual Gucci dress or whatever it may be, because then that's clout. It's all about clout. It's no different than having clout in the real world. Driving a Lamborghini in the real world is going to be replaced by having a cool digital avatar in the virtual world. Like you're going to have your personality offline, your personality online. Some people are going to thrive online more than offline, and vice versa. It's all different personality types, different skill sets. I would imagine this is going to take off for people who basically built the internet, right? It's a lot of computer programmers who feel comfortable behind a keyboard, and they're building a world that is perfect for them. And I enjoy visiting it, right? It's not my default. I prefer to be out in real world. That's just my personality. But it doesn't mean I shun the online world. It's going to be a part of my life. It's going to be part of my kids' life. I want to be able to bond and understand what this generation is going through. So I learn about it. So I find it quite interesting a lot of times. So don't be an old curmudgeon and say the virtual world is crazy, because I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. So virtual world real estate investing comes down to 4 different things. One is location, right? Are you going to be near the city center, the hub? Like when your character spawns on this program, you want it where you're probably going to spawn in the center of the map. So are you going to be close to the center of the map where everyone spawns, where they don't have to travel to get to you? Are you going to be buy real estate close to the city center? Things like that. I will pull up right here. So this is on OpenSea, which is sort of the eBay, Amazon of real estate. You can see all these different plots of land. I did priced high to low here, and I did bundles. So here's 3 parcels right on the street here. As let me see, let me zoom in. Sorry, guys. It's a little bit easier to see here. Let me make myself smaller. Okay. So here you go. I can buy this parcel land. This is the very edge of the map, which is why it's all black, but I'm right on the road here, on this close to this corner, right? And this one's sort of out a ways. So maybe not as good there. This one's on a little bit of a cul-de-sac type of sort. The red dot that we're looking at here is what you're buying. This one's right on the park. Now this one's premium 4 lot, 1, 2, you get 3, you have 4 square here. Wow, this is good lot, 100 ETH. That's about $250,000. These are the best real estate buys, in terms of location, right? If we do the reverse and we say let's do price low to high, and let's just do all items here. And this is on one of the worlds called Decentraland. You can see this parcel, like this is the middle of nowhere. So it's sort of like buying farmland, or maybe an acre in the middle of a desert, right? Like your best prop bet is either you have to build your own path to get here, or you sell it to someone else who has all these other parcels, and you make a massive thing. And this is worth $12,000, right? So in the real world, land can be 0, and land can be 0 in the virtual world. But this is how you do it, and you can make money, and then you build up upon it and build these sort of cool worlds, as you see fit to make money. This one. This has a beach theme. They put sand, they put a tent, a campfire. So if this person was probably going to rent out this camping site to, your friends. So if I say, hey guys, let's go camping, you put on your virtual headsets and you go camping here. It sounds silly, but as the world becomes more, work from home, or you can live wherever you want and have your job, I still want to see my friends, and it could be a Zoom call. Right. That's what we do now. We play games on Zoom. It might be card games or some sort of social bluffing games that are built in, but I see my friends' faces. This is eventually going to be replaced by, hey, why don't we all go camping for a night, and you play these little avatars, and there'll be, if you can go to a Vegas version, there's going to be casinos, there's going to be entertainment going on in these virtual worlds, and you could be a landlord of that, and really sort of rent out the spots that you develop. Again, it all comes down to 4 things here. One, versus location. So, how close you are to sort of the foot traffic in the hub. Second is the size. Obviously, the bigger the plot, the bigger experiences that you can build, and the more features that you can do, just like in real world. If you have a small, tiny lot, you can't build a high rise. But if you've got a commercial lot that's 4 properties together, you could build a bigger property. Same sort of works in the virtual world. Third thing that really determines the value of your virtual real estate is the game popularity. So there's 2 big ones right now: Decentraland and Sandbox. Are they here to stay? We don't know. They all have finite number of pixels, so they're not growing in size. So really, once they have their set land size, which is like, I think one's 80,000 pixels, another is 160,000, sort of little virtual lots. The only way they can make money is to gain popularity, right? Bringing people in, and then they can get a little scrape off all the in-game transactions, whether it's someone running a casino and you got to pay a little property taxes back to Decentraland or Sandbox, or you're going to a club and access that club, you have to buy a certain ticket. I'm sure the creators of that universe are going to get a little percentage of those profits. So once they've allocated all that land, they just got to focus on game popularity, bringing people in, releasing new features, new sort of avatars, and bringing celebrities on board like Snoop Dogg to build a club, things like that. And so sort of, the last thing is scarcity. How many plots of land? Thankfully, it's all capped. Is there going to be a rug pull? I wouldn't necessarily think that someone will purposely sell all this land and just disappear. I do think there'll be metaverses where people run out of money, or they lose funding, or it doesn't gain traction and they're going to disappear. But what's going to be fun is if you have your little avatar and you buy Nike sneakers in one world and you buy a hat in another world, and that same avatar character can visit all these different metaverses with the same character, the same clothing. And it's almost like, hey, this is my Italian suit that I got made in Italy. These are my, I don't know, a hat that I got when I traveled to Australia. It's going to be the same sort of thing. You people are going to travel and they're going to want to wear what they, buy something as a touristy item in all these different worlds. So you can really set up shop and figure out how to do it there. So it's all very interesting. I'll show you some. This is a bit of the Sandbox, the Snoopverse here. You'll see they have 5,000 NFTs, which is basically 5,000 tickets in the Sandbox. And you get inside the Snoop Club, right? Or you can get a little pass there. They're already selling these things. Binance. Let's see. This is a crypto platform within Sandbox, and you can buy a little rooster. It says Chinese zodiac rooster. Why would I want this? I guess I can use them as a character in the game. I can fight. It has different speed and power. So within the Sandbox, there's a Binance game, and you could battle just like you could virtual horse racing. I went through that in Zed horse racing with NFTs. I could own a horse in real life and race it. I could get a virtual horse and race it. Here, I guess I can get a virtual chicken, and possibly there's chicken fights. There's all sorts of different things that you can do here. This is the virtual chicken. It comes with a sword and knife. It's interesting to me. I do think it's here to stay. I just don't. It all comes down to what is going to be popular. Here's Walking Dead shields that you can buy. So I imagine there's a Walking Dead world within the Sandbox metaverse, and you can be an officer. Here's the Glenn Walking Dead character. It's got different power and different speed. So you can play these games and they're interactive. It's just not walking around looking at virtual beers and virtual stuff. You can actually buy characters in a game and be completely immersed in these games. It's quite insane. It's quite crazy. Another popular one in the game mode is Axie. Axie Infinity is probably one of the bigger ones. And you can buy characters. And this is what's interesting. You can level up your characters here in Axie Infinity. So you get a little avatar. You go in the world. You battle. If you win a battle, you get experience points. Maybe you unlock a new axe or shield or helmet. You improve your player. And this is what's interesting about this is you could create a training facility within this world. They're about to roll out Axie Land, where you can farm resources and mine gold or ore to build better shields, and then you can sell those shields to other characters. And so you're basically like gold, ore mining, coal mining within this, and you can run a business in this virtual video game world. You could have build a clubhouse where everyone on your guild meets for training and purposes, and you equip them, and they pay to be part of your guild. There's all these sort of entrepreneurial businesses you can run within these things. And this is where it's interesting. Like if you build up a character now in Roblox, Fortnite, some of these walled garden video game things, your character stays there. Here, if you're done playing the game, you can go sell your character. You can go sell all the tools that he's built over the years. So if you grow out of a game, which happens a lot of times, you just, you get older, you get sick of it. Your friends are turned on to new games, so you get turned on to a new game. You don't lose all that money. You can actually sell those characters. And there's been a popular article floating around in Uganda and some other African countries where people actually make more money building up their characters online than they do working minimum wage jobs in those countries. So this is going to be a whole new career for people, in that, you make more money playing video games. This has been happening a lot of times. There's in China and in Japan and Korea, these sort of 24-hour around the clock video games where if your character gets more experience or points worth more, and then they can sell the whole login to someone. But here you can actually unlock a special tool and just sell that tool, not even have to sell your character, or sell your shield that you made yourself or that you bought or won in a battle. So this is going to be a profitable venture. So professional video game players are not just going to be someone who's super awesome at one game and they win a tournament. It's going to be, 12-year-old kids who have nothing but free time at their computer, or it's going to be people who from economies that just can't support them, but an international economy on the internet, they can build up their characters all day. I find it fascinating. It's all very interesting. So to sort of repeat, the four things I would do if you're interested in investing in real estate is focused on location, size of the lot, the scarcity of the world that you're building in, and the game popularity. Those are all going to determine the values of it. Sorry, just kicked the camera there. But here's my play. So how am I going to invest in this? I like long-term investing. I don't like get rich quick investing, because that usually is a double-edged sword. You can also get poor quick at the same time. So I think the play of spending hundreds of millions of dollars on this virtual stuff, it's just almost too new. It's too wild west. There are people who are going to make millions off this. There are. I think there's going to be more that's going to lose money off this, because it's going to be, what is the game popularity, right? Right now, we're early adopter status in this. So you get really the people with a lot of free time doing this, which is, you tend to be kids, and obviously kids don't have a lot of money. So I don't know how much money they're going to spend to use my virtual services or pay rent, right? The second adopters seem to be the rent payers, the big brands who don't understand this world. They may not want to spend 6 months with an architect to design a world, so they'll just rent space in a popular thing just to put their sign up, and put out a press release that says that now they have an office in the virtual world. Those people at least will pay rent, at least in the short term, until they see if it pays off or not. So I think there's a play there. But it's really going to come down to where are people going, right? What's the flavor of the day? People might be on Axie Infinity right now. They might be on Sandbox right now, Decentraland. Those seem to be the three biggest, but those worlds aren't going to get any bigger because they're all capped. So really the next play is, who's going to build the cooler land? Who's going to build the next metaverse and then next? And there's 24 or so to pick from right now. So that's really sort of splitting up the users. So, if you got questions, let me know. Put it in the comments here. I'm live streaming live on Twitch, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and my House of AC Facebook group page. All those I should be able to see your comments, except on Twitter. But and here's the other thing: you can't get mortgages for virtual reality, right? So that's going to be limiting, and that's good. It's a good thing because it's so speculative. I wouldn't want you to get debt on something that could go to zero. But that's where a lot of money is made in real life real estate is leverage. You're using other people's money, and then you let someone else pay the rent down, pay your principal mortgage down, and all your payments, and then whatever's left over is your cash flow. You can't really do this. So this is an all cash investment. And very speculative all cash investment. So it's first identifying what world you want to invest in, what piece of property you want to invest in, and then do you want to develop that property or you want to buy and hold it? Hopefully someone will build a cool thing next to you and then increase your property value. It's all very speculative out there. Outside of that, I'll show you some other of these other worlds here. Let me share my screen again. Here's one called Nifty Island. All right. So this is trying to compete for your eyeballs and your virtual real estate dollars. This is a very game heavy thing, just sort of like Axie Infinity. I think this will be probably most of the metaverse is going to have some game aspect because there's so much money to be made. I remember Farmville and Facebook, right? You build resources, you build your farm up, and you have to recruit all your friends. Those sort of game mechanics are going to happen here as well. Just the thing is, you get to sell your character and your NFT at the end of the day to actually make some money here. We talked about Axie. Here's another one. This one's called Somnium Space. There's, virtual reality. You can build your own homes. Here's the marketplace here. If you want to kind of look, it's going to make me enter in my Ethereum wallet, which I don't want to do right now. Okay. So now it's taking up my whole screen. All right, here we go. All right. So these are all the different things that you can do in the virtual reality space. I find it fascinating, and it's and also so speculative, and it sounds so stupid at the same time. I get it. I'll give you one more game example. So there's another virtual world called NFT Worlds, and this is the same sort of thing. You can see you get little blocks of land. I bought an NFT, which is just a virtual JPEG that has a blockchain that shows I have ownership of it, called a Gray Boy. All it is, it's a little alien guy. But these guys are building a Gray Boy spaceship in the 3D worlds. Because I have a Gray Boy, I get access to the spaceship. I've never done it. I think it's still being built. But that's how NFTs are going to be sold, is what access it gives you in the real world and what access it gives you in the virtual world. That's the future of NFTs. So I think every brand's going to have an NFT component. If they're going to have a sale on, at a toy store, Toys R Us, if they're back in business, and they're going to say, hey, if you buy a toy today, you get access to Jeffrey the Giraffe Kingdom online. That's such an easy upsell for people, right? Because it's virtual, it's already built, and you don't have to have employees running it. So every brand is going to have a presence in some aspect in the virtual world, no doubt. And everyone who wants to sell something, sell any product, any subscription, think of any business that you subscribe to, whether it's Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, anything like that. They have to throw in, well, you get to also use this in the metaverse. It's just going to be the future of sales, and getting you to commit to any sort of membership thing. Any sort of musician or artist, whether you fine art, graphic art, if you're a director, any sort of entertainment business, you're going to sell an NFT that gives you access in real life, have dinner with me, come play basketball with me, get a 1-hour consultation with me, plus B, a virtual world experience. Hey, come hang out with all my other fans online while I do a read through of this movie script. Come online where I or of the club, Snoop Dogg Club, right, where all my friends hang out, and only 10,000 people are at a time. And today I'm going to have 50 Cent perform. So everything's going to have a real world aspect and a virtual world aspect. There's money to be made. There is. I don't feel comfortable telling you where. I just want to educate you on how it's all playing out right now, and it could all completely change, out there. So if you want to do more research on this, all I can say is just sort of watch the space on sort of OpenSea, which is what I would do. So if you go to OpenSea here and you do the Decentraland floor price, the cheapest, this just tells you what the cheapest property is 4.64. Okay. And if we go down here, 4.64 ETH, which is just shy of $13,000 as we record this. And if you see that going up and up and up, that means these properties are getting more and more popular. You're getting more and more users. It all comes down to how many people are logging in, making accounts to use Decentraland. You can see that if the floor goes 4.64 and 4.64, and the next one's 4.75, 4.8, 4.8, 4.85. So this ramps up pretty sharply, right? If you buy these bottom two at 4.64, then the next cheapest one's 4.75. The new floor is 4.75. Here we go. This is Decentraland floor price 4.64. If you buy these two pieces of property, it's called sweeping the floor. What sweeping the floor means is you increase value for yourself because you get all the cheapest ones, and now there's a new floor. And so if you take these two cheapest ones at 4.64 in Decentraland, that's the next cheapest one is 4.75. So now you could actually list yours for 4.75 because that is now the new floor. It's not saying that someone else might undercut you and say, well, if those sold for 4.64, I'm going to drop my price. Yes, that happens, but this is called sweeping the floor. A lot of people do that. Now that's in Decentraland. Let's check out what's happening on Sandbox. Another popular virtual metaverse out there. The floor is a little bit cheaper, 3.51 for the Sandbox. This is what you got to look for. 118,000 items, 19,000 owners. So a lot of these owners own more than one parcel, right? That you get those big sort of, sales, bundles of sales where you get 10,000 spots in a row. So you can build those virtual zoos and amusement parks. But this floor price is 3.51. Let's see what that gets you. So, right, 3.51, and then the next cheapest is 3.5, Ethereum 3.6 and 3.6. Wow, so you could sweep the floor here, get the 3.51, 3.51, 3.57, and now the new floor is 3.6. Not a lot of money, but you can kind of see that the prices go up. The red dot here represents what you're buying. So this one's a little bit inland here. This one's right on the corner of, it looks like a thoroughfare, grid here. It's kind of nice. This one's next to some, I would imagine this is some NFT company that's Big Monkey. They bought all those parcels of land. So if you think that's going to pop in the future, you're going to be right next door. That's great because all those people visiting here are probably going to walk by your property. Maybe you can sell them a virtual hot dog or something like that. So this is just how you buy land, and then you got to develop it. If you want to do something with it, you could be a buy and hold investor. But I don't know. I think at the end of the day, this is how I would invest in virtual real estate. I would find the companies building in this space, not the companies that are renting virtual real estate, not the fashion companies and things like that, the clubs. There's going to be companies built that are the game designers. Hey, I'm going to build the world for you. You hire me to build a world for you. Like the architects, the actual builders. I think there's going to be companies that pop up around this, and that is where you invest your money. Figure out who's building the coolest spaces. Just like in the real world, who's building the biggest hotels, that architect and builder gets paid the big bucks, right? So whoever's building the coolest stuff in the virtual land, that is where I would invest my money, invest in those companies if possible. Secondly, I would invest in the currencies within these worlds. So Sandbox has its own currency, which is Sand. Decentraland has its own currency, which is Mana. And all these different um, worlds have different their own currencies, and the currencies are exchangeable on an interchange. Just like if I were to travel to Japan or China, I can change US dollars into the local currencies. So as I switch between metaverses, I can change my dollars out. I can also cash out and turn it into US dollars at any time as well. So if you think one of these things is going to take off, getting in on the currencies, you can buy the currencies without owning any land, without ever even going into the land. Just go to Coinbase, which is on my LinkedIn profile. If you want to join Coinbase, you can buy a lot of these currencies, and just buy and hold some of those currencies. And the more popular the games gets, the more popular that currency is. It's worth more, right? So that's the way I would possibly invest in virtual real estate instead of actually buying the virtual land. Another thing is buy the NFTs for the experience, because I think it'll be easier to resell an NFT to a hot club, or an NFT to the fashion district, or an NFT to the amusement park, or whatever it is. Buy the NFT. You can use it yourself, and then you can resell it later. I think as long as you know, I think that you'll at least break even, because someone will probably also want to experience it, or maybe want to buy that NFT from you, and you're just basically selling your membership card. So I would put my money in sort of the experience things, because to me that's an easier sell than building this $100,000 to $1 million virtual land. There's just fewer buyers for that, and I don't want you to be caught if that world just people stop coming to it. You'll be very, very exposed. So the three things I would invest in the virtual world are not the land itself; it's the companies building within the land, because they're going to have the skills and the experts to scale up really quick. The currencies within the land, just buy and hold the currencies and lands that you like. You can do that on any of the exchanges, or buy the NFTs for experiences. It's going to be much easier to resell experiences than it is a well-developed piece of parcel, which maybe your next buyer will want to redevelop. And just like in the real world, you don't want to put any personal touches in a house that you're trying to sell, because your buyer may not appreciate those personal touches. So there's my spiel on virtual real estate. I'm learning. I've just scratched the surface, and I'll do regular videos on these and live streams, because I know this world's going to change rapidly, and that is where I'd put my money. All entertainment, not financial advice. And if you are buying in this space, let me know. I want to have you on the show. I want to see what you're doing in your virtual worlds. I want to pick your brain, because I personally don't know anyone doing this. I know a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people social who are doing this that I follow vicariously, but I really want someone in real life who's doing this, that I can ask all the questions that you may have as well. So thanks for tuning in to the House of AC. Please like and subscribe. That's all I ask. I do this every day. Just like and subscribe. Follow me on all the social media channels, and I'll see you tomorrow as I live stream here. And thank you for all your eyeballs now and in the future. And go to Linktree /the House of AC to get all the stuff that I'm talking about today.